Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'll be reviewing one of the accessories that I've been testing over the last few weeks for the brand new Mavic Air 2. Now, anytime a new quad is released and I get my hands on it, I get out in the field as quickly as I can, and I fly that quad as much as I can to get a real good feel of how it handles in the air, how the software works, and really why that drone is different from all the other drones that are on the market, so I can come back here and talk about it on the channel. The other thing I'm thinking about, though, while I'm flying that drone, are the accessories that could really enhance that flying experience. Maybe make it a little safer, a little bit more fun, or somehow protect the drone when I'm transporting it home or taking it out in the field with me. And then I'll come back here and talk about those in the channel as well. Because let's be honest, anytime a new drone hits the market, there are a ton of factories that spin up and start turning out all kinds of bits and bobs and accessories that they think you need. And a lot of those look pretty good on a website, and you may think to yourself, man, I gotta have one of those. And you'll order it, it'll show up, you'll attach it to your quad, you'll go out and fly with it for a couple of times and realize you're not really using it. Maybe it's not that great a quality, or it doesn't do what they say it's going to do, or it doesn't really enhance your flying experience. And none of us want to carry accessories out in the field that we're not using, and it ends up in a drawer someplace and you've spent money you didn't need to spend. So I like to take my time, really think about the things I'm going to use with the quad, the things that are going to stay in my kit every time I leave the house. And when I find something I like, I'll go out and buy a bunch of different manufacturers' versions of it, and I'll test them all. And I'll pick the best one that I find, the one that I'm going to use all the time, and then I'll talk about it in the channel. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. So the accessory I'm going to discuss here, we're going to call a lift kit or a landing kit. And essentially what it does is provide a little extra clearance for the quad on the ground. Because if you've flown a lot of the Mavic products, and even some of the other products from DJI, the folding quads tend to be very small, and that's a good thing. The bad thing is, the camera doesn't have a lot of clearance. So even on a flat surface, that camera is really, really close to the ground. So if you land this in grass, especially wet grass or soft dirt, or even on a macadam parking lot, that camera is so close to the ground that if it lands in wet grass, you're going to get moisture up inside the gimbal assembly and the camera. You're going to get dirt and debris from the grass. It could sink down into the dirt, then the camera hits the ground there. Or if you're landing on a parking lot, which seems like a great place to do it, you're so close to the ground that the prop wash forcing down kicks up all the dust and sand and debris from that parking lot up into the assembly underneath. So having a little extra ground clearance just means that you've got that extra measure of safety to keep your really sensitive gimbal and camera assembly, the most expensive part of the quad in some ways, off the ground. So I like those kind of clearance kits. And again, anytime a quad's released, there's probably 25 companies that come out with some kind of lift kit that they think is the right way to go. So I buy them, I'll bring them in, I'll test them, and I'll end up with one that I like. And then typically, if I like it a lot, we'll list it on the website. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. So what I'd like to show you first is how easy this is to use. I'll show you how to put it on the quad. The nice thing about this, some of the benefits of it, are that number one, it's extremely lightweight. It's incredibly durable. I like the fact that it matches the color of the quad, so it's not some bright orange thing or some blue thing that sticks out like a sore thumb. It looks like a stock part on the quad, but the bigger issue for me is I like to leave stuff on the quad when I pack it away, and you can leave this on the quad and have it fit in all the cases that are out there, so it's a really easy product to use. One of the other criteria I look at, there's really three of them. Number one is price, or actually value for the money. I want to make sure that if I'm spending money on an accessory, it's something I'm going to use and it provides really good value. I want it to be easy to use. I don't want something really complicated, some big Rube Goldberg solution that takes me 20 minutes to put it on the quad. I want to put it on, use it, and just not worry about it after that. And then the third one is I really want something that's durable. I don't want something I have to buy 5 times over the life of the quad. And a lot of the accessories out there, everybody's going for a price point that looks to be really attractive. And the lower you get in price, the less expensive it is, but the cheaper it's built. So it's not going to last you as long. So this, I think, struck a real good balance of all three of those things. It's very functional, it's really easy to use, and it provides tremendously good value for the money, and it's incredibly durable as well. So let me show you how to put it on the quad, and then I'll come back and talk about a couple of others that we tested. And I'm also not a fan of coming on the channel and showing you the 12 that I tested and talking about how these 4 fell off the quad when I land it once, how these 2 over here broke the second time I tried to lay the legs down, or these 3 over here have really floppy parts because it's plastic on plastic. I'm not here to beat up other companies. I'm here to promote the ones that I use and talk about the things that are going to benefit you. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to put it on the quad, and then I'll come back with some final thoughts. Installing the landing gear kit is a really simple operation. The rear legs have a catch on them right here. You just unsnap that, you slide it down over the leg, you line it up with the bottom of the motor mount, wrap that around, and snap it closed. Same thing on the other side. Again, it takes a couple of seconds. Make sure it's centered, snap it around, and snap it closed. On the front legs, you'll notice there's a bit of a triangular formation there that marries up really well with the leg. Just line that up, slide them on. I like to do this with the quad upside down because then I'm pushing down on a surface on the motors and I'm not pushing too hard on the legs. To extend them, you just unsnap them here, like that, and then fully extend them, and hold the leg when you're doing this, but then snap it open like that. You'll hear it click. Same thing on the other side. Snap it open, and then when you're doing it, hold the leg and put your fingers behind it, then snap it open. On the back too, they basically just extend beyond horizontal. You want them to go all the way out like that, because that would give you a little extra pressure in to keep the quad stable. The other thing I do want to point out, I want to make sure you can see this. You'll see the screw inside there. A lot of these units have a plastic rivet in there that actually holds this piece onto the leg. And that works really well when it first comes out of the box because there's a lot of friction there. But over time, that's going to wear. Then this leg gets really floppy. And when you're taking off and flying around, it may be in a weird position when you're trying to land like this. And then it's going to come down and actually collapse on you. With this one, you can always tighten that screw if you need to later on. So I like the fact that they've used actual screws in there. And that's pretty much it. Once you have the kit installed, you're all ready to fly. Here's the Mavic Air 2 with the landing gear kit installed and extended, and you can see pretty quickly the additional clearance that it provides. Now, it's not like you can land your quad in a wheat field someplace because you've got the kit installed, but that extra height is really important because if you're putting this down in the grass or on a gravel road or maybe in a parking lot, having it that much further off the ground means all of that dirt and debris that would normally get up in that sensitive gimbal and camera are not going to be a problem for you. And the reason I wanted to talk about this accessory first is because when I first started flying the Mavic Air 2, I was using a landing mat like I often do, and I had it on soft ground in a field someplace, and when I put the Mavic Air 2 down on it, the weight of the quad pushed down just enough in that landing mat where the power on self-test, where it does the calibration of the gimbal, wouldn't complete because it sunk down in the mat. So the minute I put these on, it raised it enough off the mat where I didn't have that problem. And I think for me, the protection of that camera and gimbal is super important when I'm flying. And again, even if you hand launch and hand catch, I would still recommend considering these because a lot of times when you hand launch, you're flying for 20 minutes or 25 minutes, the wind can kick up and maybe the drone's coming back and all of a sudden it's moving around up in the air and you realize, man, I shouldn't catch that because it's essentially a Cuisinart up there in the air. Maybe I want to land that someplace. Having these on the quad means that you can put it down on the ground and not have to worry about the camera and gimbal impacting that surface. Now, they don't weigh a lot. They're less than an ounce, so they're not adding a lot of weight to the quad. They have no impact aerodynamically with the quad. It flies just fine with it. It doesn't change the flight parameters of it. It also doesn't interfere with the transmission because the antennas are in the front two legs of this. So it's really just a great kit all the way around. Now, some of the things you want to consider if you're not going to go with this kit and you're out there shopping for a different style kit, the things that really sold me on this one were, number one, it's high impact plastic, which means it's lightweight, but it's really durable. They use metal parts. So a lot of them that have these folding legs in the back have like a plastic on plastic rivet in there. And it worked okay for the first couple times, but you'll find over time that this gets really, really loose. And if you're flying it and this thing starts flapping around, when it lands, it may not actually land flat. So these have screws in the back, which actually you can tighten down if you need to over time to firm them up a little bit. I also like the fact that I could fold this thing up and put it away. It's a really simple kit to use. So to put it away, you basically fold down the back legs, you snap the front legs closed, hear them click, and then you can fold up the quad normally, and nothing interferes with the actual folding of the quad. Two of the other kits that I tested really required you to take off those front leg extensions to actually fold it closed, or they were so tight that they actually forced the arms away from the body, and I worry about that kind of tension over time damaging those arms. Now, the back legs are a little bit long on this. This will fit right in your case. There's no problem with it, but that extra length, a lot of cases might be a little bit tight. So what I end up doing a lot of times is just popping these off when I throw it back in the case. Now, you can leave them on. It takes a quarter of a second to pull them off, but for me, when I put this away, put the gimbal guard on it and put it back in my case, it's not that much bigger than it was before I started using these extensions, and I really like the fact that I can use them and get it up off the ground. Now, as I say often, you probably can find these all over the internet, but be careful because a lot of them out there will look similar, but will be different manufacturers, or they're coming from someplace that could take a couple of weeks to get to you. I like these so much, we actually added them to the website. I have plenty of them in stock, so if you want to support the channel, I have a link below where you can find this accessory and a bunch of other stuff for your Mavic Air 2. As I say every time, we ship every day. We ship from New Jersey. I can get it to you faster than Amazon can, and if you ever have questions later on with a product you buy from us, we'll be here to support you. So you've got that peace of mind knowing you're buying from somebody you can get a hold of, and we can correct any issues you may have. So that's pretty much it for today. I hope you found this clip helpful. I really love reviewing these kind of accessories. I've got 10 or 12 others that we're working on right now that I'll be posting over the next couple of weeks, as well as a ton of other clips doing comparisons with this quad and a bunch of other quads, a lot of other high-tech gear as well. So if you haven't joined the Drone Valley family and subscribed to the channel, hit that button down there and jump on board because we have a lot of really cool content coming this summer and you don't want to miss it. So that's it for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching. We really appreciate your support. And until next time, happy flying.